NBA, dominating the court with godly talent unlocked. Episode 61, The Free Market for Immortals to Fight. The biggest winner of the free market in 1996 was, June 30th at 8 p.m., Orlando. O'Neal and his agent, Perry Rogers, talk at a luxury villa in Orlando. So, Shaq, where exactly do you want to go? Rogers looked at O'Neal and asked seriously. O'Neal didn't speak, because he didn't know where he was supposed to go now. Orlando can't stay anyway. Now his contradiction with Penny Hardaway has been put on the surface. In the second half of the regular season this year, Pence and O'Neal were already at odds. O'Neal wants to put up good numbers and then sign a big contract this offseason. Penny's, on the other hand, believe that O'Neal's good stats will inevitably take away the ball in his hands. Pence naturally wouldn't have agreed to O'Neal's request. As a result, there has been such a conflict between the two people this season. And later Kobe, the contradiction between O'Neal is very similar. Speaking of low, it's still for the ball. After being eliminated by the Bulls, O'Neal's agent has said that if Orlando can't show enough sincerity, then O'Neal will definitely leave Orlando. At this time, Pence Hardaway's agent also spoke. He said that if Orlando were to give O'Neal the top salary, then Pence would naturally need the same top salary as O'Neal. In fact, Magic has the ability to come up with the top salary. But, the boss of the Magic knocks on the door. He didn't want to take that much money. Therefore, he was left with only one choice, and that was to choose one of the two. Who to choose? The Magic boss is also very entangled, Penny, and thinks O'Neal is too petty. After all, O'Neal is the youngest of his 4 dissenters. When the other 3 centers are old, O'Neal will officially usher in his dominance. In fact, even now, when O'Neal meets the other 3 centers, he can draw with them. Even O'Neal can sometimes blow them up slightly. However, if you choose O'Neal, you can't keep the penny. The penny is also very powerful, and his popularity is high. The 1996 All-Star ticket winner was not Michael Jordan, who played a 72-10 record. It's the Magic Penny Hardaway. This speaks volumes about Hardaway's popularity. This is a man who can snatch the All-Star ticket king under the hands of Jordan at the peak. From now on, the future of Hardaway must be very glorious. Hardaway is expected to become the second Jordan inside. So, the boss of Magic has been hesitating. O'Neal and Agent Rogers also gave Magic management a deadline. If the Magic management can't give a correct answer before the free market officially opens, then O'Neal will test the free market directly. If Magic management can agree to O'Neal's top salary requirement before free agency opens, then O'Neal will stay with the Magic. Now, there are only 4 hours left before the free market opens. The call from the Magic management still hasn't arrived. O'Neal and Rogers looked at each other, and they both seemed to be able to see the answer in each other's eyes. It seems that the Magic still chose the Hardaway of the outside player. Hardaway's style of play is indeed gorgeous, and the outside players will be at their peak longer. Just as both of them were thinking so, a call from the Magic management suddenly came. Hello? Rogers answered the phone and made a silencing gesture to O'Neal. O'Neal listened quietly. He had thought that the Magic management had chosen to keep him. However, the call was connected for only 5 seconds and ended. Rogers hung up the phone, looked at O'Neal, and said, "They refused." O'Neal's face suddenly turned blue. He said hatefully, "If you don't keep me, it's a loss of Magic. Do I still ask them to keep me? I can still make the playoffs in other cities. I will prove one thing to everyone. Without me, Pence Hardaway wouldn't have made the playoffs." Then he looked at Rogers. "How do we choose the team?" Rogers rubbed his forehead and said with a bit of a headache, "It's not sure yet. New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, San Francisco, Miami. That's all there is for big markets. These cities have stars. There is no core team, and there is no space to take you. New York has Ewing, Chicago has Jordan, Houston has big dreams, and Miami has Mourning. San Francisco is not a star though. But now that the Warriors have Mullen, Hardaway, and Sprewell the Madman, there's not enough room to sign O'Neal. Before the draft begins, the Los Angeles Lakers are the best place for O'Neal to go. However, after the draft was over, after the Lakers chose MU, O'Neal had nowhere to go. Medea. O'Neal patted the table helplessly. He's Shaq O'Neal, a 4-star center. Can't find a big ball market? O'Neal was sad because he couldn't find a place. But Jordan, not at all sad. Hours before the free market began, Jordan was still spending money at a casino in Las Vegas. Winning the championship this year, it is natural to indulge well. Free market? That's not something he's supposed to worry about, because his agent, David Falk, will do everything for him. All he has to do is sign his name on the contract extension. At this time, Jordan's agent David Falk was also very leisurely, because he didn't need to contact any team for Jordan at all. After Jordan led the team to a 72-10 record, the former league's giants will come to Jordan. All you have to do is sift through the offers each team has given Jordan. Then according to the bag, select the team with the strongest team and the team with the highest offer. Just fine. On the other side, Los Angeles, Lakers general manager's office. It's still brightly lit, and Lakers management has all chosen to work overtime today, because they have to carry out various operations. Now, the list of players who can still play for the Lakers is as follows. Center, and Mu. Power forwards, Eldon Campbell, Cary Brant. Small forward, Cedric Ceballos. Shooting guard, Eddie Jones, Kobe Bryant. Point guards, Nick Van Exel, Fisher. Large list of 15 people, only 8 people. In other words, the Lakers are still missing 7 people. The vacancy of 7 people is also a big challenge for West. The Lakers starting lineup is not bad. Amu, Cam Benning, Ceballos, Eddie Jones, Van Exel. Cam Benning has mid-range shooting and averaged 14 plus 7 rebounds per game last season. Ceballos averaged 21 points per game last season. Players who scored more than 20 points in the 90s were already very powerful. Eddie Jones averaged 13 plus 3 per game last season and shot percent from 3-point range. This starting lineup is not bad for the whole league. However, the substitute lineup has a bit of a headache because the Lakers have been swinging all the time last season. So for the substitute lineup, West did not lay the groundwork. In fact, it is very, very rare that West can bury the foreshadowing of the Lakers' current starting lineup in a bad situation. Free market is the only chance for the Lakers to make up for the shortcomings of all the teams' rosters. West is very important to this opportunity, and at the same time, the Clippers' president's office, Baylor, is also carrying out all kinds of secret plans. On the day the draft ended, Baylor vowed to let the entire league see his operational talent. Now, there are 4 hours left. Myself, I will laugh at the whole league. He has convinced Sterling to give him full support. Now, the Lakers will definitely not rise for a while, and this is a good time for the Clippers to turn over serfs and sing them. In such a big city as Los Angeles, if the Clippers can make a score, then the Clippers will definitely make money. As long as you are willing to spend money, get Supergiant. Then anything is possible. Sterling, the miser, under Baylor's soft and hard bubble, agreed to Baylor's request. In Elgin Baylor's free market signing notebook, these names are written: O'Neal, Gary Payton, Reggie Michael Caleb. These 3 people are the top priority of this year's Clippers. If one of these can be checked, the Clippers' playoffs have hope. If you can check in 2 of them, then the division finals are inevitable. If you sign in 3, it seems that the championship is not far from him. As for Michael Jordan, the biggest big fish in the free market in 1996, Baylor couldn't even think about it because the Clippers simply didn't have the ability to attract Jordan. Now, the most competitive for Jordan is the New York Knicks. In order for the Knicks to successfully sign Jordan, Ewing has renewed his contract with the Knicks in advance. Last season, he earned an annual salary of $18 million. And this season's annual salary is only $3 million. This is Ewing's sincerity, and the Knicks' sincerity, to Jordan. Time is getting closer and closer to the opening of the free market. Orlando, O'Neal and Rodgers were helpless and anxious. Chicago, Jordan is laid back, and Falk is laid back. Los Angeles, West is planning everything. And Elgin Baylor is working on his own Clippers rise plan. Finally, the bell struck 12 o'clock in the morning on July 1st. The NBA announces the official opening of the free market. All the general managers of the team rang the calls of various agents at this moment. Rodgers received a phone call from the Milwaukee Bucks. O'Neal directly asked Rodgers to hang up the phone. Milwaukee? That's not a place to hold sharks. Then, the call came in as a team similar to the Milwaukee Bucks, Vancouver Grizzlies, and Toronto Raptors. All of them are small ball city teams, and some are still foreign. Sharks can't stand this. Rodgers and O'Neal looked at each other, and they were both very helpless. If you want to go to a big city and become a core player, where is it so easy? At this time, a phone rang from Los Angeles. Clippers. Rodgers glanced up at O'Neal. At this time, there was a light in his eyes. No way. Just now, he and O'Neal thought of Los Angeles, thinking about the Los Angeles Lakers. As a result, the Los Angeles Clippers forgot. Doesn't the Los Angeles Clippers fit at all? O'Neal frowned, but the strength of the Clippers. The Clippers are a 10,000-year-old rotten team, and if they don't get up or down, it really makes O'Neal a little reluctant. We have a consensus with Gary Payton. At this time, Baylor on the other end of the phone suddenly said something. This made both O'Neal and Rodgers widen their eyes at the same time. Gary Payton? That is, when O'Neal leaves the Magic, he can team up with a top point guard again? This is O'Neal's favorite situation. On the other side, after Baylor said Payton's name, he picked the corners of his mouth. Did he and Payton reach a consensus? Actually, no, he is now completely empty. After talking to Rodgers for a while, Baylor hung up. He then dialed Payton's agent, and then, after what he had just said to Rodgers, repeated it with Payton's agent. This year's finals are Supersonics versus Bulls. That said, Payton is now the runner-up point guard. He wants to win the championship, but the Supersonics are not strong enough. The ball market is not big and does not attract good players. The other in Payton's Shawn Kemp are also excellent, but can he be as good as O'Neal? At this moment, like O'Neal, Payton was moved. Baylor's empty glove White Wolf plan, temporarily successful. In fact, even if his plan is punctured after this, there is no problem, because both of them are moved and want to form an alliance. Even though they knew that Baylor was deceiving them, Baylor gave them a beautiful blueprint. The NBA is a league of interests, and there may be human feelings, but more interests. The Clippers are in Los Angeles, a big city, with big contracts, awesome teammates, and a bright future, so why not? Lord Bell initially reached an agreement with the two players. At this moment, Elgin Baylor felt that he had reached the peak of his life. Since I didn't win the championship as a player, I will use the squad I built during the general manager, winning the. And in Chicago, David Falk received a crazy pursuit from the New York Knicks. The general manager of the Knicks gave a big price. Due to the contract, Jordan's salary last season was only $3.85 million, and Jordan earned a total of $28 million in the first 11 years of his career. On average, it only earns about $2.8 million per year. The Knicks directly offered Jordan a 4-year, $80 million contract. $20 million a year. Ewing opted for a pay cut to $3 million this season, giving the space entirely to Jordan. Of course, his $3 million salary is just for next season. By the 1997 to 1998 season, Ewing's salary would return $20 million. The Knicks aren't short of money, and Ewing is just showing sincerity. See, I lowered my salary to $3 million, and after you signed with the Knicks, your salary was $20 million. At that time, you were the most expensive player in the Knicks. Come to Knicks. Let's team up for the two of us to win the championship. On the other side, West is also making some signings. The big fish of the free market, he doesn't have to think about it. Jordan, Stockton, Michael, O'Neal, Payton. These 5 people will not come to the Lakers for various reasons. What he's going to do is sign free agents and make some trades. From July 1st to July 10th, this is the period when the NBA has the most signed transactions in the free market. During this period, O'Neal and Payton, under Baylor's matchmaking, could not resist the temptation of Los Angeles and the two to form a team. Finally, on July 8th, O'Neal and Payton jointly announced that they had signed with the Los Angeles Clippers. O'Neal eventually traveled west to Los Angeles. However, the Shark did not become a Laker, but boarded a Clipper. And glove Gary Payton became the helmsman of the Clippers. O'Neal signed a 6-year, $100 million contract with the Clippers. Payton signed a 7-year, $85 million contract with the Clippers. Baylor made a big deal of nearly $200 million. When the news came out, the whole league was shocked. No one expected that the Clippers turned into a phoenix overnight. The original small broken ship seems to have become a luxury cruise ship. In addition to O'Neal and Payton, the Clippers still have a decent power forward in place. Roy Water, a spatial power forward, averaged 14 points per game last season while shooting 50% from the field. Be able to fully open up offensive space for O'Neal. O'Neal signed with the Clippers, the first major player change signing on the free agency. Everyone thinks the Clippers are the biggest winners this offseason. At this time, the Knicks couldn't help it, and directly chased Jordan's offer to $100 million in 4 years, $25 million contracts per year. This is now the top salary in the league. After Jordan learned of the Knicks' offer, he called David Falk. Let Falk go to the Bull owner. Falk and the Bulls owner showed their strengths in the negotiations. At the beginning, the company also added a quote of $100 million for 4 years from the Knicks. However, David Falk step by step put the Bull owner into passivity, and in the end, the Bull owner Jerry Raines gritted his teeth and reported a high salary of $30 million. And, because the NBA's top signing specification right now is $25 million, therefore, Jerry Raines also has to confirm with the NBA. In the end, Stern decided on Jerry Raines' request to make the Bulls make an exception of 3,000 moons a year Jordan. As a result, Jordan felt that the contract years were too much, and he also heard that Bulls general manager Jerry Krause was going to trade Pippen for Amu in this year's draft. Is this specifically about breaking up my Bull dynasty? Jordan, who was originally dissatisfied with Klaus, was even more dissatisfied. So I decided, I will sign once a year. As long as you break up my dynasty lineup, I will leave. I will not play with you. In the end, the Bulls owner pinched his nose so that Jordan could continue to earn money for himself, and Jordan signed a contract of $30 million a year. This offseason, 3 of the 5 big fish have already decided to go home. Only Regimick and Stockton remained. Unfortunately, after Jordan's signing was completed, both of them chose to complete the renewal with the parent team. They don't have any other team left any chances. At a time when the city team Clippers signed O'Neal and Payton on a high profile, West was developing on the sidelines. He made some minor tinkerings to the squad. The contracts of Amu, Kobe, and Fisher have been signed. Amu's contract is a 3-year, $10 million contract. Kobe's 13th pick contract is very different from Mutian, which is only $3.5 million in 3 years. As for Fisher, who was selected with the 24th pick, there are even less, just $2 million after 3 years. In terms of jersey selection, Amu chose number 0. According to him, he hopes that the opponent will always get 0 points under his own defense. In fact, Amu decided to continue wearing number 0 after awakening the system Mall. Why? Learn from Comrade Westbrook. Bryant also chose number 8, as in history. As for whether he will choose number 24 in his life, it will be necessary to see if he can slay the dragon again for 81 points. Fisher chose number 2. After signing the contract, West continued to tinker with the team's roster. However, on July 10th, a word reached his ears. This made West, who originally had a headache, smile. Who said there will be no big fish this year except on the free market? And Enmu also welcomed a guest from the Celestial Empire at home, Zhang Ping. Episode 62. The Magician is making a comeback? The second time on the return flight met Gao Yuanyuan, Zhang Gongwei Ping, Jingshiren clan, born in the first year of the Republic, 8 feet long, good at basketball. In the 11th year of the Republic, 1960, he entered the Beijing Shikuhai Sports School to learn ball arts. In the 16th year of the Republic, 1965, he entered the Beijing Division Youth Team, and the following year, 1966, he entered the Beijing Division Basketball Team and won the national championship of the Celestial Empire. In the 24th year of the Republic, 1973, he entered the Celestial Empire Men's Basketball Team, playing as the second center, with a solid pace and strong offensive power, and was praised by the Times Magician under the basket. Shi Tiangongqing Haidu was in charge of the Celestial Dynasty men's basketball team. The soldiers were brave, and the 3 troops died. Since the 26th year of the Republic, 1975, it has been equal to the great powers and invincible to Asia Minor. At that time, Asia was weak, and the European and American countries were brave to win the basketball world. But the Celestial Dynasty men's basketball team was not afraid of strong players and was worthy of the championship of Asia Minor. In the 29th year of the Republic of China, 1979, in the 8th World Basketball Championship, Zhang Gongwei won the championship and won the title of scoring champion. He retired and entered the Beijing Normal Sports College, and later served as the supervisor of the Beijing Normal Youth men's basketball team, and later entered the national team to assist Tiangong, with a good record. In the 8 years of reform, 1986, he defeated Europa powerhouse Greece at the World Championships in Spain, and later generations looked up to him as a miracle, and won the 9th place in the competition. In the decade of reform, 1988, Zhang Gongwei crossed the ocean and went to the United States, the holy place of basketball, to seek the truth. During his stay in the United States, he studied English and basketball concepts hard, cultivated his self-cultivation, and achieved great success. Several times, he brought foreign lecturers to the Celestial Empire to teach the true scriptures of basketball, or helped the Celestial Dynasty Basketball Club to train in the United States. The praise of the Times, the bridge between Chinese and American basketball. From 1997 to 2000, Zhang Gong was the senior manager of the Celestial Dynasty Department of the International Management Group, responsible for the publicity and promotion of the Celestial Dynasty Men's Basketball League A-League. At that time, Fong was involved in the cause of basketball commentary. Zhang Gong's explanation is a masterpiece, often partnered with Sun Jinping, known as the Schwamping combination. The analysis is penetrating, articulate, passionate, and the mantra is, there it is. 3 years of scientific development. The American basketball finals. The second team of May is known as the Lakers. The Celtics are difficult to solve. The battle is 7. The Lakers win hard. Zhang Gongwei shouted, win the championship, win the championship. So it was known as the #1 Lake Honey in the Celestial Empire. In August of this year, the men's basketball team will fight in Turkey country, and the double drawing combination will come out again. And Zhang Gongwei is even more witty. After the first men's basketball #1 ED attempted to dunk the Greek center, Coach Zhang sighed, what a man, which caused everyone to think. The second battle force captured the African powerhouse Ivory Coast. The car shock boy Sun Dashing Meow broke the ball and made a layup. Zhang Gui was excited 25, shouting, play him, it's a classic again. Sure you, Zhang Gongwei is peaceful. When he is a player, he is not afraid of strong enemies and fights endlessly. When it is the governor of the capital, the supervisor is in charge of a certain degree, and the rewards and punishments are clear. On the occasion of the explanation, it is unrestrained and passionate. It is really the banner of Celestial Empire basketball. Looking at Zhang Weiping sitting in front of him, and Mu couldn't help but think of the biography of Weiping he had seen in his previous life. This is an interesting compilation of some netizens in the previous life. Of course, more famous are the James family, the biography of Kittle. These words very briefly describe Zhang Weiping's achievements in his life. Now, director Zhang has come to the United States again from China. The last time he interviewed Mu in the NCAA finals, Director Zhang asked whether Mu was willing to join the team, and Mu's answer to Zhang's guidance is that if the country needs me, I will be obliged. 3 months later, Zhang returned from China, and Mu didn't know what Director Zhang had done in the past 3 months in China, but from his expression, he could still see that he seemed to have more vicissitudes than 3 months ago, and at the same time, his face showed the fatigue of the journey. And Mu, Zhang Weiping opened his mouth and was about to speak, and Mu said to Zhang Weiping, Director Zhang just calls me Xiao Mu. The elders in the family call me that. Zhang Weiping nodded and said, Xiao Mu, what I told you 3 months ago, have you changed your mind now? And Mu said solemnly, Guidance Zhang, a manly husband, it is difficult to chase after a horse with a word. I will not break my word. As long as the national team needs me, I will play. Zhang Weiping nodded, and then took out a document from his bag. This is the domestic basketball player registration form. You fill this form first. Basketball player registration is still very simple. It does not take much effort, and there are no restrictions after registration. Later, Zhang Weiping took out a document of at least 10 pages from his bag. This is an agreement with legal significance. If you don't believe me, you can go to a lawyer. When you register as a basketball player, you belong to the Basketball Association of Lu Province. The content of this agreement is that you will only play in the national team game, and the Lu Province Basketball Association does not have any authority to ask you to do anything else. And Mu was originally from Lu Province, so there is no problem in Lu Province. The most critical question is, how much effort did Zhang Weiping put into this agreement? Director Zhang, you? And Mu looked at Zhang Weiping and said with some emotion, thank you. Zhang Weiping waved his hand and said, this is all your own credit. If it weren't for your good results in the United States and becoming the draft champion in the 1996 draft, I wouldn't have been able to make you the current situation. I just spent some time, and the important credit is really done by yourself. And Mu looked through the agreement, and what Zhang Weiping just said was the most important content in the agreement. In fact, there are some small places that even Mu did not expect, and there are all in this agreement. Zhang Weiping really took care of it. Zhang Weiping said, if you feel satisfied, just sign it. The national team's training has been going on for more than half a month. You can go back now and train with the national team for about a month, honing the squad in tacit understanding. As long as the national team can play well, my efforts will not be in vain. Zhang Weiping looked at Mu and said solemnly, Xiao Mu, you have to know one thing. As long as you go to the national team, you are the absolute core and main force. With your Celestial Empire men's basketball team, it will be an iron wall. As long as you can play the score, what's wrong with having privileges? If others also want to have privileges, let them also go to the NBA draft, let them also win a championship. Get an NCAA championship. Zhang Weiping opened all the joints for Mu, and he did not trouble Mu with anything. What Mu has to do is to sign his name on these contracts that are beneficial to him. Coach Jang's sincere heart for the national team is true, and his love for Mu is also true. Similarly, Mu's patriotism is also true. Mu stood up and put the agreement away, and then said, Guidance Zhang, when will you return to China? At this time, it is indeed time for Mu to return to China. After the signing with the Lakers was completed, Mu had planned to return to China to see his parents. Although the situation has changed a little now, he can still see his parents first, and then go to the national team to report on the training. Zhang Weiping said, of course, the sooner, the better. And Mu nodded and called Bill Duffy and asked Bill Duffy to help him book 2 tickets for tomorrow. I'll leave tomorrow. Good. After sending Zhang Weiping away, Mu took out the agreement and read it carefully, and there was indeed no omission. Playing the Olympics is also a good choice for Mu, because, in the Olympic Games, you also need glory points. If he can earn enough glory points in the Olympics before the NBA season officially starts, he can redeem a few more skills. Now, Mu's attack mainly relies on eating bread. If you can exchange a few offensive type skills, it will definitely be better for Mu's development in the NBA. Moreover, these personal factors aside, isn't it the dream of all athletes to wear the Olympic costume of the Celestial Empire team, sweat and compete for honor for the Celestial Empire in the Olympic arena under the gaze of the people of the whole country? Thinking so, Mu began to pack his bags. Meanwhile, the Lakers' general manager's office, Jerry West, is also planning a deal. As it stands, the big fish on the free market are gone. Jordan, Michael, and Stockton chose to stay with the original team. The Clippers spent a lot of money and directly smashed money to promote the teaming up of O'Neal and Payton. During this time, he can be ruined by his Baylor. Every time I see West, I can't help but show off to West. West also felt a little unpleasant. Why did the unlucky bastard Baylor suddenly rise this year? Why did the brain suddenly open up? For this point, Mu is also puzzled. Hasn't Baylor always been a fool, forced? In addition to being scolded by fans, that is, being scolded by fans, when he was a manager, he never rushed out of any thought, why is there such a stroke of wonder this year with the Clippers? In the end, Mu still felt that it might be his arrival and caused the butterfly effect. But this butterfly effect seems a little too strong. O'Neal plus Payton. This combination is a bit too explosive. Payton is a defensive shot, plus a top outside lineman at the level of the best defensive player. Although it is not comparable to Hardaway in terms of popularity, it can still faintly surpass Hardaway in terms of strength. Let's talk about Payton's defense. That's all to be able to defend Jordan's defensive ability. All the outside players in the entire league, when facing Payton, will be very uncomfortable. Offensively, Payton is a passing-focused point guard who will put more basketball into the hands of players who are better suited to take points. Such a combination really directly turned the original small broken ship into a luxury cruise ship. Kobe, who had always laughed at Nash's never-coming day, stopped laughing at Nash after this signing. Because in the three people of Mu, Nash, and Kobe, now, it is Nash who has the best hope of winning the championship with the team. Some people once boldly predicted that after the Clippers upgraded their roster, they may reach the finals this year and beat Jordan. O'Neal was the center who eliminated Jordan. Payton had just played the finals with Jordan a month earlier. Together, these two seem to have a real chance of taking out Jordan. As for the Lakers, the outside world is that it is expected to win the championship in 5 years. And Mu needs to grow, Kobe needs to grow, and the Lakers roster needs to be strengthened. At the same time, the fans also found something interesting. The original San Antonio All-Star, in the video of Mu hanging Hammer O'Neal, the 4 players in it are all in Los Angeles now. At that time, it was OK Group versus Silicon Valley Duo. Now O'Neal and Nash are teammates, and Mu and Kobe are teammates. Perhaps, this is fate. Now, in front of West lies a message from an inside Knicks person. The Knicks have been looking for the right point guard lately. The Knicks are now facing a very embarrassing situation, with an extreme lack of talent on the organizational end. Last season, the Knicks had the most assists on the team. Not a point guard, not a quarterback, and likewise, not a small forward. It's Anthony Mason, who plays power forward, and Mason is averaging only 4 assists per game. The number of assists is too low. The Knicks offense is basically all Ewing singles, Mason singles, attracting bags, and then splitting the ball. Tactical runs? No. Pitcher running tactics? Oh, the Knicks hit more than 4 3-pointers with Derek Harper. So, the Knicks now need a point guard who can pass the ball and shoot 3-pointers. They can trade Oakley at their power forward position or Anthony Mason. And the Lakers, there happens to be one such player, Van Exel. He averaged 6 shots on 3-point court, 36% from 3-point range and 8 assists per game. Isn't that the best result? In this way, the Lakers can strengthen their power forward position. Both Oakley and Mason are players who defend well and have a certain range. These are West's favorite power forward players. However, trading Van Exel away, the Lakers are short of point guards again. Or, bringing the Magician back? Originally, Magic Johnson would have made a comeback in the 1995-1996 season, but because Enmu is so fragrant, the Lakers are fighting for Enmu with all their might. The Magician's comeback plan did not materialize. If the Magicians can come back next season now. So, it doesn't seem to be impossible. West believes that the Magician still has oil in the tank. This man who opened the hang has found a way for the Lakers. Thinking of this, he directly dialed Johnson. Oh. Our great Jerry. NBA logo mister, may I ask you what you are looking for me for? The phone was connected, and John's voice was a little unhappy. Because West rejected his comeback last season, he had some opinions about West. When speaking, there is also some yin and yang strangeness. But West didn't mind at all, because in a moment the Magician was going to kneel and lick himself. Irwin, you were going to come back last season, and I refused. Any idea why I rejected you? The Magician said, isn't it for the sake of messing? You're afraid that my comeback will affect the Lakers' record. West smiled and said, haha, it's not just for the sake of messing. I thought your body wasn't ready to adapt to the intensity of the NBA. After all, you've been out of the league for 4 years. Now that the swing is done and we have a new historic center. You have also watched the game of this little guy, Anmu. Do you think he can be the next Abdul-Jabbar or Chamberlain? On the other end of the phone, the Magician was silent for a while and said, he did really well in the game. Very good defensive awareness and offensive awareness. I've seen his ball-carrying offense, and although it's still a little rough, there's an aura. If polished well, the offensive power may not be inferior to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. West felt like he was smacking the Magician. Want to make a comeback? I didn't give you a chance before, but now I give you a chance. And the opportunity now is to pass the ball to the top center of the future. I believe that only Enmu can let your whimsical pass play its power, right? I think maybe it's time for you to give these little ones direction. Mr. Magic. Mr. Magic. West's last words Mr. Magic tickled John's heart to tickle him for 4 years from the league. But the current Magician still wants to be there. Gallop on the field. Now, here's your chance. West really got the Magician in hand. Finally, the Magician said, Jerry, I have to think again. Although his heart is excited, the Magician feels that he cannot make a decision with a hot head. West showed his old silver coin smile and said, that offseason, I sent a few people to train with you, and you also adapted to the rhythm of the game and lost weight. Although the Magician said he had to think about it, West felt that he had an 80% chance of making a comeback. The Magician on the other side of the phone smiled helplessly. This old fellow. Without waiting for his promise to come back, he went directly to him for training. Who are coming? West said, Kobe Bryant, Derek Fisher. The Magician pondered for a while and suddenly said, isn't Kobe Bryant the position of the quarterback? West laughed, but I think his passing is also good. He was called the Pennsylvania Magician in high school. You help with training. His passing awareness is good, but he still needs to improve his technique. In the future, it seems good to make him the second Magician of the Lakers. The Magician on the other side of the phone felt as if he had suffered something, but he didn't seem to have suffered any loss. West hung up the phone and dialed the general manager of the Knicks. The next day, Enmu and Zhang Weiping flew from Los Angeles International Airport to leave the United States and return to China. As soon as he sat in the plane position, Enmu suddenly saw a somewhat familiar figure not far away. Highland Yuan? Episode 63. Except 2 goddesses. The big boss is actually a dad? The national team reports contradictions. At this time, the plane was taking off. Dao Yuanyuan sat in the window seat, and at this time, she was looking down with her little face. The whole city of Los Angeles is also getting farther and farther away from her. Her eyes were looking for something. Finally, it was finally frozen in one place, the Staples Center. In a few months, he'll play there. Set yourself a small goal. Watch all his matches live. After Gao Yuanyuan finished speaking, he shook his small fist to cheer himself on. After watching the live broadcast, I have a common language with him. You can write to him. He. Remembering writing a letter, Gao Yuanyuan remembered the note that recorded Enmu's address at this time, which was still left in some mysterious place in his suitcase. Can't help but blushing again. Hey, while Gao Yuanyuan was thinking about these things, Enmu walked to her side and patted her on the shoulder. Gao Yuanyuan was pregnant with a girl, and after being interrupted, she was taken aback, and turned her head to look at the person who patted her shoulder a little angrily. Who is this person? So nasty, think this beautiful girl is a bully? I will destroy you on behalf of the moon. Gao Yuanyuan reluctantly took his gaze away from the center of staples, and then gritted his teeth and turned to look at the person who patted him on the shoulder. After seeing this person's face, the fire in Gao Yuanyuan's heart disappeared instantly. She froze. Is this fake? I was still thinking about you just now, and the next moment you appeared beside me? I'm not dreaming. And Mu stretched out his hand and waved beside Gao Yuanyuan. Hey, why are you stunned? Oh. Gao Yuanyuan shows the image of the confused girl to the fullest. And Mu smiled and looked at a female passenger sitting next to her. Hello, this beautiful lady, this is my classmate. We haven't seen each other for a long time. Can we change seats? In this world, beauty is justice. After seeing the handsome Mu, the female passenger of about 30 years old nodded and said, okay. The two changed seats, and Mu sat beside Gao Yuanyuan and asked with a smile, what's wrong? At this time, Gao Yuanyuan still couldn't close his mouth in surprise. You. How did you get on this plane? Gao Yuanyuan stammered and asked. And Mu did not answer, but asked rhetorically, what about you? Me? I'll go home. Gao Yuanyuan said, didn't I tell you some time ago? And Mu remembered that when Gao Yuanyuan went to buy the old godmother some time ago, he did say that she was about to return to China. What about you? Gao Yuanyuan asked rhetorically. I'll go home too. And Mu said, I have been in the United States for a year, and I haven't returned home for a year. Now that the draft is over and the signing is over, it's time to go home and see. It's so coincidental, I didn't expect to be able to take a plane with you. Gao Yuanyuan smiled happily, and his smiling eyes had finished the crescent moon. Homesick? Of course I thought. You can't see your parents in the United States for a year. Do you want to be home? Yes, I've been homesick in the United States for only a month. Gao Yuanyuan pouted, and suddenly whispered, there is an old man who has been watching us. And Mu turned around and looked back to see that it was Zhang Weiping. He was looking at himself with a smile. TSK, this kid is still handsome. You can talk to the little girl when you get on the plane. When our old Zhang was young, he was also a handsome descendant of 10 miles and 8 towns. And we were also young. Zhang Weiping was sighing at the king when he saw Enmu turn to look at him. He smiled at Enmu and waved his hand. After Enmu saw that it was Zhang Weiping, he said with a smile, that's an elder who returned to China with me. Huh? Gao Yuanyuan covered her small mouth. She thought she was some kind of bad person just now. Is that your family? And Mu shook his head and said, no, it's a senior of the domestic men's basketball national team. National team? Gao Yuanyuan looked at Enmu and asked, this year's Olympic Games are about to start. Do you want to participate in the Olympic Games? Yo, pretty smart. So, I don't have to wait until November? Gao Yuanyuan suddenly thought of something and couldn't wait to ask Enmu. Enmu was a little puzzled. What November? Look at what excites you. Gao Yuanyuan also realized his gaffe just now, and whispered, it's your game. After speaking, she lowered her face again, and her face turned pink. And Mu looked at Gao Yuanyuan's shy appearance and felt a little funny. You said my game, that's for sure. In half a month, you will be able to see me on the TV. I was so anxious just now. Was I anxious to see my heroism on the court? Gao Yuanyuan whispered, that's why I didn't. She asked, will you leave immediately after you fly to Kyoto? Yes, the national team is in a hurry to summon me. I will go home for one night, and I will go to the national team training the next day. Oh, Gao Yuanyuan replied sullenly. What's wrong? Gao Yuanyuan's interest was suddenly not high, which made him a little puzzled. She whispered, I still want to take you to Kyoto. Before Enmu could speak, Gao Yuanyuan said again, but it doesn't matter. You are going on a campaign for the country. It's a matter of national honor. I'll watch your game and cheer you on. The flight from Los Angeles to Beijing takes about 13 hours. In 13 hours, Enmu and Gao Yuanyuan's relationship quickly warmed up. Dear travelers, when there is a beep from the plane, it means that the plane has arrived at the capital airport. Gao Yuanyuan is a little lost. Why can't the plane fly in the sky all the time? In this way, she can always be with Enmu. Walking out of the boarding gate, she said to Enmu with some reluctance, Enmu, goodbye. Enmu said, we are all good friends, can you change our name? It's always called Enmu, see more outsiders. Gao Yuanyuan also felt that this was the case, and he opened his mouth, brother Mu. And Mu shook his head and said, add another brother behind the brother. Gao Yuanyuan was puzzled, and whispered to himself, brother Mu. Then, his face turned red again. Looking up at Enmu, wrinkling his tall nose, he said in shame, you play me. And Mu said with a smile, isn't this much better than brother Mu? Bah. Don't face. Gao Yuanyuan punched Enmu with his small fist. On the side, Zhang Weiping was about to die by the scene. I'll go. Enmu said to Gao Yuanyuan, let's go, bye-bye. Gao Yuanyuan waved his hand, looked at Enmu, who was striding away from the meteor, and secretly added in his heart, bye, brother Mu. Enmu and Zhang Weiping strode out of the airport. After walking out of the airport, Enmu took out his mobile phone and sent a text message. And, safe landing, Li Jiasen, okay, pay attention to safety, beautiful boy. Zhang Weiping asked curiously, who to send a message to? Enmu put away his mobile phone, broker. Enmu also thought about who should Li Jiasen and Gao Yuanyuan choose? Finally, Enmu remembered a word. Children make choices. I want them all. After landing from the capital airport, Enmu rushed back to Jifu. The parents had also received the news that Enmu had returned a long time ago, and they waited for Enmu at home early. The moment Enmu entered the house, Lu Yayun cried, laughing and crying. She was happy and sad. Happily, my son has a future. Sadly, I won't be able to see my son often in the future. Enmu arrived home at 10 a.m. and had lunch and dinner. He spent the day chatting with his parents about his various experiences in the United States. At night, it was time for Enmu to pack up his things and get ready for bed. And Wakwa suddenly saw a list. He asked curiously, "What is it?" Enmu replied, "The list of the men's basketball national team." And Wakwa curiously took it apart and looked at it for a while. Center, Enmu, Wang Jiji, Batel. Power forward, Gong Xiaobin, Lu Yudong, Wu Naichuan. Small forward, Sun Jun, Xing Wu. Shooting guards, Hu Weidong, Li Nan. Point guards, Wu Qinglong, Li Xiaoyong. Head coach, Gong Luming. When he saw that Gong Luming was the name, and Wakwa suddenly frowned, he looked up at Enmu and asked, "Where is this Gong Luming from?" Enmu thought about it for a while. "I didn't think about it," and said, "I don't know." He only knows that Gong Luming has been the coach of the national team, and where does he know where Gong Luming is from? Although it is a traverser, it is not known about everything. And Wakwa continued to ask, "Then how old is he now?" Enmu replied, "It seems to be about 40. When Enwakwa heard this, he lit a cigarette, smoked half of it, and said leisurely, "I may know this palace Luming you said." Enmu looked at Enwakwa suspiciously. Enwakwa continued, "If this Gong Luming you are talking about is the same person as the Gong Luming I said, then we are junior high school classmates. And it's the bunk kind." Shoo. After hearing his father Enwakwa's words, Enmu gasped, "Good fellow. I didn't expect this relationship." And Wakwa smoked a cigarette and continued, "When he came to Jifu to attend junior high school, I had a fight with him on the first day of school, and then they became good brothers. After graduating from junior high school, I heard that he was chosen to play basketball, and I never saw him again. I didn't expect that it would be such a coincidence. He would be your head coach and Mu of the national team." Listening to Enwakwa's words, and felt that 9 out of 10 were true. "So, there's someone behind me?" And Mu's first thought was this. Then he said, "Dad, then you will send me tomorrow, and let you meet your good brother too." And Wakwa finished smoking a cigarette and said, "I haven't seen him for more than 20 years, and I still miss this kid. I'll send you off tomorrow and catch up with him." And Mu nodded. "TSK, this trip home is really rewarding. Ate good food, drank good food, saw what I wanted to see. In the end, a big boss was involved, and Daddy's good brother turned out to be my head coach in the national team. Some of Enmu's worries before are all gone. Maid, it's better to have a backstage." And Mu thought lightly. The next day, Enwakwa and Enmu took a car to Haidao City together. The men's basketball team is on the training ground this year, in the city of Haishima in Lu Province. After arriving at the gate of the training base, Enmu and the doorman spoke. Not long after, Gong Luming ran out of the training base. After seeing Enmu, Gong Luming smiled and came over to shake Enmu's hand. "Hello, Enmu. I am Gong Luming, the head coach of the men's basketball national team. Director Zhang has told me everything, don't worry." Enmu nodded, then turned around and called Enwakwa. Enwakwa came over and looked at Gong Luming with a smile. Gong Luming's eyes also changed at this time. Enwakwa recognized Gong Luming, and Gong Luming also recognized Enwakwa. Two old classmates, good brothers on the other side to catch up. Instead, he threw Enmu aside. "Go, enter the base and say." Gong Luming invited Enwakwa to the base office. Enwakwa waved his hand, pointed to Enmu and said, "I'm here to send my son, and I'll leave when I'm done. Your national team training time is tight, so I won't delay you. After you get good results at the Olympics, we'll get together again. I've always been in Jifu anyway." Gong Luming turned his eyes to Enmu and said, "Brother Gua, I gave birth to a good son." After watching Enwakwa leave, Enmu and Gong Luming walked to the base together. Palace guidance. Enmu just wanted to speak. Gong Luming said with a smile, "Still called Gong Gue?" In the future, when there is no one, he will call Uncle Gong. And Mewing said, "Uncle Gong, when do we have to train together?" Gong Luming said, "The Olympic Games start on July 28th. Today is July 13th, and there is still half a month left. Train at home for a week, and then it's time to go to Atlanta. Those of them came to the training camp in June, and you came late. However, you have experience playing in the United States, so you should be able to keep up. Director Zhang told me all about your situation, as well as your father's relationship. Don't worry, you can't stand grievances here." And Mu nodded. In fact, even without his father's relationship, he was not afraid of being wronged. Respect is made with a fist. Originally, Mu's idea was to first use his fists to fight his teammates out of respect in China. However, after going abroad with his teammates to beat out the respective foreigners and lead Mu to put away his luggage, Gong Luming took Mu to the training hall. After gathering all the team members, Gong Luming said, "This is our new team member Mu." Everyone applauded. There were few applause. Gong Xiaobin, the thorn-headed Xiaoyao king, said to Mu, "We have a custom that newcomers must single out the old players when they join the team. Tisk worthy of being Master Gong." Master Gong was known as the king of Xiaoyao when he was a player, and when he was a coach, he was also very powerful, most famous for saying to the referee, "Nonsense. Take a whistle and blow blindly. The hope of Celestial Empire basketball has been blown away by you." Therefore, it is not surprising that this provocative remark was the first to be said from Gong Xiaobin. Gong Xiaobin, get me back. Gong Luming looked at Gong Xiaobin about to stir up trouble, and shouted directly at him, "You want to run 10,000 meters, right?" And Mu interrupted Gong Luming and said, "Gong instructor, it's about to start training, I'll go head-to-head with the seniors first and warm up. Gong Xiaobin said, okay, come on. Now Gong Xiaobin is one of the most powerful people in the national team. The title of King Xiaoyao, how many dare to take it in the country now? The god of war Lu Yudong was steadily suppressed by Gong Xiaobin at this time. Wang Zhizhi, who was only 19 years old now, still followed Gong Xiaobin's learning, and the two fought directly. Gong Xiaobin threw the basketball to Enmu. You come first, I'm afraid you won't be able to touch the ball in 10 minutes. Enmu nodded. During this time, he has not relaxed his training, and the dribbling is much better than it was a year ago. Gong Xiaobin's defense was a little careless, and Enmu held the ball and accelerated to break through from Gong Xiaobin's right side. After Gong Xiaobin reacted, he couldn't even see Enmu's taillights. Duh. Enmu rushing into the inner line is a big windmill buckle. Ahem. The corner of Xiao Yawang's eyes jumped, a little embarrassed. The rest of the national team originally looked at the play, but now after seeing Enmu's windmill buckle, they didn't speak. To be honest, a player who can complete a windmill dunk on the basis of a height of 213 centimeters. Not in the country now. Enmu looked at Gong Xiaobin, and Gong Xiaobin said, I have a foot injury, and I can't keep up with your breakthrough. Let's start with an inside back. Enmu nodded, throwing the basketball to Gong Luming. He turned his back to the position and pushed Gong Xiaobin fiercely. Humph. Gong Xiaobin snorted, feeling that his chest was about to crack. Enmu catches the ball and hits back. Bang, bang. After 2 hits, it was already under the basket. Open the mountain and cut down the trees, and the fierce beast comes. Boom. Partition button. Gong Xiaobin. My mother. What kind of monster is this? When the bus beats Brother Ben, it's not so easy, right? You said that our Hercules Batel and Enmu's strength, who is greater? I think it's Amu. I think it's a bus. After Enmu detained Gong Xiaobin, King Xiaoyao stopped talking. After a long time, he said, I'm not good at defense, you have to convince me, you have to let me attack once. Xiao Yawang's best skill is his offensive footwork, and it is by relying on this offensive footwork that Gong Xiaobin firmly occupies the position of Asia's #1 DA striker. When the stick country saw Gong Xiaobin in the World Series, it directly gave up resistance. Therefore, Gong Xiaobin also has a nickname, Anti-Han Shibing. Enmu nodded, come. Gong Xiaobin held the ball low and hit Enmu with his back. Bump, bump. No matter how hard you hit it, you still can't hit it. In the end, he used all his strength and still did not move. Enmu could have withdrawn the stool directly when he hit the last time, but according to Gong Xiaobin's temper, if he withdrew the stool, he would probably still not be convinced. Then go hard against him. Gong Xiaobin saw that he couldn't move Enmu and began to use his footsteps. His steps were very confusing, and he suddenly turned around and made a basket, and Enmu stretched out his hand without jumping. Gong Xiaobin turned in the opposite direction again, but Enmu still stretched out his hand and did not jump. Gong Xiaobin is speechless. Why don't you jump? In desperation, the back-edge jumper shot. Enmu jumped with lightning. Snap. A big cap that directly takes the basketball from the basket of this half, and the cap flies under the basket of the other half. The men's basketball teammates scoffed, and Gong Xiaobin was hung by Enmu. Hee, finally someone can cure you. Gong Luming looked at Gong Xiaobin, who was deflated, and was very happy in his heart. Gong Xiaobin is powerful, but he does not obey discipline. Quarrels with the head coach are a common thing, and now being beaten like this by Enmu should give him enough motivation. Gong Xiaobin looked at Enmu and said, Brother, I obey. Like Enmu, Gong Xiaobin is also a native of Jifu, Lu Province. The men of Lu Province do not hold grudges. After this so-called induction ceremony, Enmu began to train with the team. Gong Xiaobin, who was still provoking Enmu just now, chatted with Enmu in the Jifu dialect for half an hour. Enmu also plans to follow Gong Xiaobin's footsteps during the Olympics, and his steps are indeed excellent. Gong Xiaobin's footsteps are at least NBA level. After all, Wang Zhizhi, who followed his steps, would be valued by Old Nelson because of his steps in the future. The coaching staff and players watching the national team were crying and laughing. Mud horses. Gong Xiaobin, you are really a strange thing. Enmu convinced Gong Xiaobin, which means that he subdued the entire national team. Now, Gong Xiaobin is the strongest person in the entire national team. In the next training, Enmu and his teammates were very successful. His style of play is mainly to eat cakes, and the defensive end covers the sky. It's still the same with the national team. Enmu's defensive ability is enough to support the entire men's basketball team's defensive system. Enmu's skills on the defensive end, God's chosen body, plus dimensional level defensive nerve reaction. Since getting the dimensional level defensive nerve reaction, Enmu had not tried the power of this skill. In the next week's team group confrontation, Enmu could clearly perceive that the dimensional level defensive nerve reaction had indeed greatly increased his defensive ability. Enmu's defensive ability on the defensive end also made Gong Luming very happy, because this year's men's basketball team is a death group. The Celestial Empire men's basketball team was divided into the same group as Angela, Croatia, Argentin, Miqua, and Litao Bull, and this group can be called the group of dead broad. The United States, Croatia, and the Litao Bull were the top 3 in the last Olympic Games, and although Argentine was not as powerful as the later era of the Demon Knife, it was also extremely strong and was a frequent visitor to the world's top 8. Being in a group with such a team is a huge challenge for the men's basketball team. On July 20th, the Celestial Empire men's basketball team prepared to go to the United States, but Bill Duffy made a transoceanic call from the United States. Episode 64. The Dream 3 team is hot. Champion Lang sent you a 58-point defeat. And, how was the training camp with the national team? Bill Duffy said on the other side of the phone. It's good, training here can keep me competitive. At the same time, I can improve my technique. And training domestically is a little more comfortable than training in Los Angeles. Bill Duffy said, I have found you a few endorsements now. When do you consider signing them? However, Moo on the other side of the phone heard the endorsement and said directly to Bill Duffy, Bill, the endorsement thing, we have to put it first. Oh? Bill Duffy asked with some doubts. Why? And Moo continued, because this time is not the time when I am the most valuable. I'm not a short-sighted person. Bill Duffy on the other side of the phone heard Moo's words, and the corners of his mouth outlined a smile. I have to say that this customer of mine is really too worry-free. Although Bill Duffy just said, he talked about a few endorsements, but there are still a few words left unsaid, that is, he does not want Moo to sign an endorsement now. The season hasn't started yet, and Moo's current value is far from increasing. Sign an endorsement now, that is, you are losing money to buy. Bill Duffy would not make this kind of money-losing trade. He remembered something and said into the phone. After Marcus Camby was selected, he kept urging his agent to find him an endorsement contract. After hearing that this guy was chosen, a bunch of relatives suddenly appeared in the house. He has almost no money now. Hearing Bill Duffy talk about Camby, Moo smiled. It has to be said that Camby is indeed a person who listens superficially. In order to brush the blocking data, he will take the initiative to put the opposite player under the basket. This is done just to make him look a little better on the blocking data. Such a person will not get any good results in his career. And Moo asked again, is there anything else besides this matter? Bill Duffy continued, Steve actually followed Kobe to train with the magician. And Moo smiled when he heard it. Nash really can. As a Clippers player, can he follow Kobe to train with the Magic? Now the Lakers and Clippers have a lot of disagreements. After all, the Lakers have been big brother for so many years. As a result, this offseason, one of Baylor's gods directly got Peyton and O'Neal to the Los Angeles Clippers with empty gloves. In a short period of time, the Clippers have many more fans. These fans, of course, were drawn to O'Neal and Peyton. Moreover, most of the predecessors of these fans were fans of the Lakers. If it is now the internet era, it is estimated that Lake Honey and Boat Honey will be online on the network every day. In fact, there is also a situation of matching lines now. The signing of O'Neal and Peyton made the Clippers pay for what is called peripheral for the first time. O'Neal and Peyton's jerseys were printed very quickly after signing. Previously, the Clippers' jerseys had almost never sold 367s. But this year, O'Neal and Peyton's jerseys were sold out within 3 days of being on the shelves. With it, sales of jerseys from other Clippers players have also increased quite a bit. This made Sterling, the owner of the Clippers who was still worried about his money, feel a lot better. Moreover, the most profitable is not the surrounding income, but more ticket revenue. Although the Lakers and Clippers use the Staples Center Arena, the ticket prices of the two teams are different. Clippers tickets are a lot cheaper than the Lakers, but with the signing of O'Neal and Peyton, the Clippers ticket price immediately equaled the Lakers fare, and now the Clippers season tickets are almost sold. Sterling smiled again and understood a truth. You have to spend money in order to save it. Only when the tools to make money are ready, can we make better money. In this opposing situation between the Lakers and the Clippers, the Magic can agree to Nash to train with him, which can be regarded as very open-minded. It is estimated that the magician also knows that Nash will not be able to get out in a short time. After all, Nash's current position within the Clippers is third point guard. He was also fronted by Gary Payton and another point guard named Darrick Martin. Being able to practice with the Magic and improving his skills will definitely be very fast. Nash's talent on the passing end is already very good. Historically, he was drafted by the Suns, played as a backup for Kidd for a few years in the Suns, and then was traded by the Mavericks to make a name for himself under Nelson Sr., then returned to his old club Sun, and immediately ushered in the peak of his career, 2 consecutive white DPOY 180 clubs for several seasons. Although he was selected by the Clippers in this life, he got the opportunity to train with Magic, which can be regarded as a blessing due to woe. Did Maggie promise to join the Lakers? And Moo closed training in China, and the communication channels with the United States are mainly through Bill Duffy. Hearing this, Bill Duffy said, not yet. Jerry West said that although Maggie was very excited, the guy still had worries. First of all, it is his illness that makes many players very resistant. After all, this is a disease that claims to be incurable. Secondly, Maggie also needs to overcome his own mental obstacles. For Maggie's illness, and Moo from the future does not mind at all. First of all, Maggie was not diagnosed, he was only a carrier of the virus, and the virus did not break out in his body. Secondly, as long as it is not blood, saliva, Xing transmission, contact with the patient has nothing to do with it. Even if you eat with Maggie, you won't be infected at all. Now if the Lakers want to trade Van Exel, then the Lakers do need Magic at the helm. Otherwise, the offensive end of the Lakers will be chaotic into a pot of porridge. After Bill Duffy informed the Lakers about it, he continued, Tim Duncan was invited to play the Dream Team some time ago. This is the tradition of the Dream Team. Every time the Dream Team trains, some excellent college students will be invited to play with the Dream Team. For example, the Dream Team of the year was with Grant, who was still a college student at the time. Hill Penny. Hardaway, Alan. Houston, Chris. The United team of Webb and others played a game. As a result, the Dream 1 team lost to the University United. This year, the Dream 3rd team will conduct intensive training, and it will also play a dozen with the college student team as usual. Although Duncan is no longer a college student, he still went to fight against Ming-san under the invitation. The end result was a narrow victory for the Dream 3 team. Duncan slashed 22 points at the head of the Dream trio, with O'Neal, Barkley, and David Robinson, shocked the members of the Dream 3 team. After the game, David Robinson said in an interview, as soon as he entered the league, he became a top 5 power forward in the league. This made Duncan famous at home for a while. Because Enmu has returned to China, there is no news report. As a result, Duncan's popularity in the United States has slowly surpassed Enmu. After hearing Bill Duffy's words, Enmu smiled easily. It's okay, Bill. We have a group with the United States, and the Olympics are still being played in Atlanta, the United States. With just one game, I can bring my fame back. Bill Duffy on the other side of the phone was worried. Celestial Empire team can beat the American team? Although Enmu is very powerful, he defeated Duncan in a duel with Duncan. But Enmu played not the American team in the final, but Wake Forest University. Now, the two sides are going to face off against national team level players. What is the lineup of the American Dream 3 team? Centers, O'Neal, Olajuwon, David Robinson. Power forwards, Malone, Barkley. Small forwards, Pippen, Grant, Hill. Shooting guards, Richmond, Reggie, Michael, Penny and Fernie Hardaway. Point guards, Peyton, Stockton. This lineup is just one Jordan behind the Dream team. With such a lineup, can the Celestial Empire win? Bill Duffy felt that the probability of Celestial Empire winning was very slim, not even quietly. After briefing Enmu on the situation on the American side, Bill Duffy finally said, I will also go to Atlanta to watch your game live. I hope you can play your own style in the Olympic Games in advance. Enmu smiled and said, don't worry, Bill. After the call with Bill Duffy ended, Enmu returned to the room to pack his things. They need to go to the United States a week in advance so that they can adapt to the climate in the United States. In order not to cause the symptoms of water and soil disobedience, the problem of water and soil disobedience is said to be big and small. If the situation is serious, it will definitely affect the competitive state of the players. Go a week in advance to avoid this. After the whole team finished packing, they first took a plane from the island to Mordor. Although there is an airport in Hiroshima City, there are no direct flights to the United States. They need to transfer from Mordor and fly from Mordor to Los Angeles first. After arriving in Los Angeles, I had to make a connecting flight, and finally, to Atlanta. Moreover, when in Los Angeles, it was not a simple turnaround. The men's basketball team will also play a friendly game with the Lakers Summer League team. And Mu remembers this incident. In this Summer League, who weighed on will also Kobe Bryant. After a 13-hour flight, the Celestial Empire men's basketball team landed in Los Angeles. The men's basketball players all checked into the hotel first, and tomorrow they will play a warm-up game in UCLA's college venue. After Enmu landed, he did not go home, because if he wanted to go home, it would be too troublesome. After playing the Lakers Summer League team, the national team is heading to Atlanta. July 22nd, a hot afternoon. In the UCLA venue, there were many spectators watching the game. The game was not publicized in advance, nor did any broadcast of the Lakers Summer League team, from the player tunnel to the court to warm up. Enmu walked to the Lakers Summer League team and walked to Kobe's side. Be careful for a while, don't break through to the inside line, otherwise you will die a terrible death. Enmu smiled and said to Kobe, huh. Kobe craned his neck and said, I'll tell you Ann. Under Maji's training, I am even stronger. I'll let you see in a moment what is called the little magician of the Lakers. For West's plan to let Kobe play point guard, Enmu also knows. What kind of big comparison can you play point guard? This was Enmu's first reaction after knowing about this. However, if you think about it, Kobe's unique personality was developed after 1998. Before 1998, Kobe was a good guy. Maybe Jerry West's decision will make Kobe's original direct career change his career path, and the achievement of the second quarterback in NBA history will be bent by West. Enmu scanned the Lakers Summer League roster and suddenly found a face. Huh? Who is that? Enmu saw a player facing the fierce. Bryant glanced at it and said, Ben Wallace. We seem to be close to a deal with the New York Knicks, and I heard that we are going to trade Oakley. Then Oakley recommended a little brother of his to play in Summer League. It's this year's undrafted. Without Kobe Bryant's explanation, Enmu also knew that Big Ben was undrafted this year. Enmu called Kobe to his side and said, have a good relationship with that Wallace. Kobe Bryant wondered, why? Enmu said, I always feel that this will become the future royal thug of the Lakers. Kobe Bryant took a deep look at Big Ben, and the fierce face was rare among blacks. Then, he nodded and said to Enmu, good. In the Lakers Summer League, Enmu knew a Kobe, Fisher, and Big Ben. Without stopping too much, Enmu turned around and returned to the national team. Shao Makaki, the first game you played after entering the NBA was to play your own team. What is it like? Yes, Xiao Mu. Can you defeat the Lakers? Gong Xiaobin came up from the side and hugged Enmu's neck. Enmu looked at the Lakers, and then at his teammates on the national team's side. This is my NBA team. I rely on the Lakers boss to pay me. Kobe is a good friend of mine. He used to be abused by me on the streets of San Antonio at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he was once transformed into a spray fighter by adding chili peppers to my hot pot. Everyone in the national team looked at Enmu with a confused face. Enmu continued, want me to defeat them? Gee, gotta add money. Enmu's words instantly caused everyone in the national team to burst into laughter. Gong Xiaobin looked at Enmu, you are quite talented. Add money, tisk. He squeezed his eyebrows and said to Enmu with a smile that all men understand, then do you still need to add a bell? The atmosphere on the men's basketball side is extremely happy and active. On the Lakers side, it was a little dull, because they don't know each other, it's just a temporary grass platform team. The head coach is also only the assistant coach of the team. The race started quickly. Jumping with Enmu was an overseas player. Enmu easily defeated the overseas player, and then the familiar jump ball, followed by a quick attack. Rush to the front, jump, catch, dunk. 3 points and one line, smooth to the extreme. The Lakers Summer League didn't react at all. Lakers ball. Enmu found that the Lakers let Big Ben play small forward. Actually, it's okay, because Enmu remembers that in the original history, when Big Ben played Summer League with the Celtics let Big Ben play point guard. Kobe is the highest coffee in the Lakers, breaking through Hu Weidong on the outside possession. Enter the box and face Enmu's defense to prepare for a flowing lever layup. Enmu's dimensional level defensive nerve reaction did not give Kobe any chance at all. When Kobe Bryant's basketball was still in his hand, it was directly cut off by Enmu, and the basketball flew directly out of the bottom line. The Lakers served. Kobe did not believe in evil, took the ball and played a block with the center, and adjusted Enmu to the three-point line. After passing the gear, continued to rush into the box, quickly jumped up and prepared to make a layup, and Enmu, who was wearing the number 6 shirt of the Celestial Empire national team behind him, took off directly. The nailboard hat is given to Kobe. When Gong Xiaobin saw this scene, Hu Weidong, who was constantly very close to him, said, is the money added a little too much? No mercy. Enmu's defensive intensity against Kobe Bryant has been maintained by him throughout the game. The Lakers Summer League teams were stunned. This defense is also too dense and airtight. Kobe is very familiar with Enmu, and he feels that Enmu's defense is more powerful than in the previous NCAA finals. Enmu's game was mainly defensive. On the offensive end, let the outside line find the feel. Li Xiaoyong and Hu Weidong are very good three-point shots in the domestic league. Now in Los Angeles, the three-point shooting level has also been maintained. Hu Weidong, as in history, staged a scoring show, scored 30 points. It's just that Kobe, who originally exchanged favors with him, was suppressed a little miserably by Enmu. He scored just 10 points on 3 of 15 shooting. On the other hand, Enmu's stats are 7 of 7 and 6 of 6 from the free throw line. He scored a big luxury triple-double with 20 points, 22 rebounds, and 21 blocks. The Lakers Summer League comes in to find a hat. Missing a shot is to give Enmu a rebound. On the Celestial Empire side, the outside player shares? Unafraid, Enmu can also snatch back the front court rebound for you. Of the 22 rebounds, 12 were front court rebounds, and 10 were backcourt rebounds. The reason why there are so few rebounds in the backcourt is because Enmu was unwilling to reach out and grab it in the end, so he gave up the rebound to Gong Xiaobin. This warm-up match is not an official Olympic competition, and it does not even add glory points. In the full game, the Celestial Dynasty men's basketball team was 108-50, and the Hanging Hammers Lakers scored 58 points in the Summer League. After the game, Kobe's face turned blue. The whole game was suppressed, and Kobe's mood was unbearable. In fact, Kobe is considered good, and the center opposite Enmu is miserable. 0 of 8 shooting, grabbed 1 rebound, and 5 turnovers. This is your progress? This is the result of your training with the magician? Enmu came to Kobe's side, and Kobe was silent for a long time with trash talk. Nash applauded Enmu from the spectator stands, ran to the court and said to Kobe, crotch. It's so crotch-pulling. Didn't you eat today? What about your breakthrough? What about your shots? What about your passes? Those things that you practiced with Maji were eaten by you? Let's get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to train every day. No, even if you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to train, you won't be able to catch up within. Enmu glanced at Nash. Steve, your path is wider. Nash smiled and said, and I always think that the two of us are the best match. With that, Nash raised an eyebrow. Nash's expression was obvious. He meant that he wanted to become a partner with Enmu if he had the opportunity in the future. Nash, I'm on the Clippers, but I'm a Laker heart. I grew up watching the Lakers ball. I think the Los Angeles Derby, or the Lakers are stronger. The Lakers have more future. The assistant coach of the Lakers looked at Enmu and Kobe, who were talking, and the smile on his face could not be stopped. Although the Lakers lost today, they did not lose at all, because the best player on the opposite side is the champion of their Lakers. Although the champion made his career debut in the competition, Handblade Old Club. However, the old owner is very happy. Beating the Lakers Summer League team gave the national team some confidence, as well as the feeling of the game. After the game, they flew straight to Atlanta without rest. Now, there are only a few days left before the Atlanta Olympics begin. The Olympic journey of the Celestial Dynasty men's basketball team starts now. Episode 65. Opening Battle vs Dream 3 Team, Monstrous Rage from Big Dream. After warming up with the Lakers Summer League, the Celestial Empire men's basketball team rushed to Atlanta. After arriving in Atlanta, the Celestial Empire men's basketball team played several warm-up games. The strength of the teams played is similar to the previous Celestial Dynasty men's basketball team. However, when Enmu joined the national team, everything has changed. Those teams that originally had the same strength as the Celestial Empire national team, after encountering the Celestial Dynasty men's basketball national team that increased Enmu, were all not the same enemies. The two warm-up games of the Celestial Empire men's basketball team, each of which was a victory of more than 10 points, attracted the attention of Sports Illustrated. Before the official start of the Olympics, Sports Illustrated ranked all of his men's basketball teams this year. First, there is no doubt that it is considered by the outside world to be no less powerful than Dream, the team's Dream third team. Second, it is a basketball powerhouse with the roof of the world Sabonis standing Pottery Bowl. Third, it was Croatia, who won a silver medal at the 1992 Olympics. The team in fourth place surprised many people. The fourth-ranked team given by Sports Illustrated is the Celestial Empire. The Celestial Empire didn't even enter the top 8 last year, but this year's strength prediction can actually rank fourth. This made the Celestial Empire instantly gather the attention of American basketball fans. Will the Celestial Dynasty men's basketball team with Enmu improve so much? I don't think so. One person can't change the game. The Celestial Empire men's basketball team has never been able to fight, and their outside line will be hit by defenders from Europe and Africa. Fourth is fourth. Anyway, our dream team is number 1. The gold medal is definitely ours. A list of strength predictions in Sports Illustrated sparked widespread discussion on July 28 at 8 p.m. The opening ceremony of the Olympic Games officially began, and it is worth mentioning that this year is the 100th anniversary of the birth of the modern Olympic Games, so it is of great significance. This is the 4th time that the United States has hosted the Olympic Games, which is tantamount to demonstrating the strength of the United States. The only country in the world that can host 4 Olympic Games is the United States, but Enmu believes that in the future, the Celestial Empire can not only host the Kyoto Olympics, but also hold more Olympic Games in more cities. MIDI, after all, will fall under the red flag. Atlanta's opening ceremony was innovative, and the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games attracted the attention of audiences from all over the world. In the end, the boxing king Ali held the torch with the Olympic flame and lit the opening ceremony of the altar, and the various competitions were in full swing. July 29th, the Celestial Empire men's basketball team will usher in the first game of the group stage. In the same group as the Celestial Empire men's basketball team, all are basketball powerhouses: Angela, Croatia, Argentine, Migua, and Litau Bowl. Among them, the United States, the Litau Bowl, and Croatia are the top 3 in the list of national strengths given by this year's Sports Illustrated. This is the Death Squad. The opening game of the Celestial Empire men's basketball team is even more thrilling. Because of the opener, their opponent is the American men's basketball Dream 3 team. This year's Dream 3 team is obviously coming for the gold medal. Since the 1988 Seoul Olympics, the American men's basketball team was eliminated by Sabonis. Since 1992, the United States has sent teams composed of NBA teams to international competitions in the World Series every year. Mingi Team Juyu was in front and won the full card of 1992. The Dream 2 team continued its strength and also won the gold medal in the 1994 Kana Grand Championship. Dream 3 team, it is impossible not to win gold. The Celestial Empire men's basketball team, with the addition of Yuan Lang Anmu in 1996, the strength of the team has also increased significantly. Can the US team continue its glory? Can the Celestial Empire men's basketball team go further? All in this group stage opener revealed. Both the fans of the Celestial Empire and the fans of the United States are waiting for this game to begin. Before the start of the game, Olajuwon conducted an interview. Now Olajuwon steadily suppresses O'Neal, and O'Neal can only play as a substitute for Olajuwon. This is not only because of age, but also because of strength. Big Dream is the only one of the 4 dissenters who can hold down O'Neal. In the 1995 NBA Finals, Big Dream averaged slashing at O'Neal's head every game. Lower 33, +11, +5, +2 cap. And Mu had seen the video of that year's finals. O'Neal, who has always been known for his physical strength, can't withstand Big Dreams. O'Neal in the Magic period wasn't fat, but after coming to the Lakers, O'Neal got fatter every year. The reason why he gained weight is also to pass the level of Olajuwon. Enmu is a good rookie player. I have seen his game videos. He's a defender with a very keen defensive sense of smell. He's so physically good that there are probably few guys in NBA history who can surpass him. When the reporter asked about Enmu, Olajuwon gave Enmu his own evaluation. But when the reporter said that since Enmu's defensive sense of smell is so good, then he should see through Olajuwon's footsteps. After hearing these words, the face of the 2-time champion center immediately became very solemn. What? Do you think he will be fooled by my footsteps? Please make it clear that my steps are the best in NBA history. No one can see my steps. Even Ewing, Mutombo, O'Neal, David Robinson can't do it. Do you think a rookie can do it? This young man is really good, but he still needs to grow. Can he beat me now? Do you think this is possible? After the game starts, I will teach this champion the first lesson in the NBA. Big Dream is a very competitive player. When the reporter asked the question just now, it directly ignited the powder keg in Daming's heart. At this time, Daming couldn't help but want to teach Enmu, the new champion, a lesson. 1984's Champion Show vs 1990's IXS Champion Show. Will this be the biggest attraction of the game? Some people are interested in this topic, some are not interested in this. The topics they are interested in are: hashtag Shark successfully revenges the Celestial Dynasty behemoth hashtag. Some people still remember the day O'Neal was blown up in San Antonio. Today, will O'Neal successfully take revenge when facing Enmu? On the other side, Enmu was also being interviewed by reporters. And, do you think you've improved the national team a lot? Enmu's answer was watertight. The Celestial Empire national team is a very good team, and our players in every position are the best. We are united in order to be able to win good results in the Olympic Games and bring honors back home. Facing Olajuwon, nervous? I'm a player who is never nervous, and strong opponents just make me more excited. Once Tim Duncan was like this, once O'Neal was like this, and now Olajuwon is like this. The game was also narrated by ESPN's two old partners, Mike Bryn and Albert. Before the start of the game, the two people had a pre-match discussion about today's game. Mike, how many points do you think the Dream Team will win against each other today? Starting from the Dream Team, the commentators in the United States used this sentence as an opening statement. Mike Bryn said, I think maybe 20 points. After the Celestial Empire national team added Enmu, its strength has improved a lot. Maybe they can do better defensively, but on the offensive end, I don't think the Celestial Empire can break through our defense. Our point guard is Peyton, the best defensive player, and the small forward is the best defensive Scottie Pippen. The power forward is the best defensive Malone. Our center forward is 2 consecutive FMVP Olajuwon. Under the defense of such a defensive lineup, I think the Celestial Empire will be very uncomfortable. Albert also nodded and said, Emu's defense is indeed excellent, but he has never shown his independent offensive ability on the offensive end. Today's performance of Emu on the offensive end may be very bad. This is what Emu's fans should prepare before the game starts. All the members of the Celestial Empire national team gathered around the head coach, Gong Luming. Gong Luming looked at all the players and said, Laumi's team this year is very strong. But don't be afraid, the US team won't necessarily win. We came this year to create the impossible. Think back to the days when I worked hard to train. Think back to the fans in the country who are expecting us to play well. Look at the eyes of the old Rice players on the other side looking at us. Celestial Empire basketball has never been in the top 8 in the world. This is a pain in our hearts. Today, we must make up for this shortcoming. We want to prove that we are not just the top 8 in the world. Even better, Gong Lu finished his words and looked up at everyone. Everyone in the national team wearing national flag embroidered sportswear all gathered around Gong Luming. Everyone stretched out their hands together and shouted loudly, Celestial Empire. Win, then, turn to the field. Before the official start of the competition, the black and blue system gave Enmu the task. Mission, defeat Yum 3. Mission reward, 100 glory points. Seeing the reward of 100 glory points, Enmu immediately made up his mind. He must win today, no matter what. You know, in the system store, 100 glory points can already be exchanged for the skills of some non-top characters in the black basket. The skill exchange for everyone in the Miracle Generation requires 500 points. In other words, if Enmu can complete 5 victories, he can also get 500 glory points. Okay, now the game is about to start. Let's look at the starting lineups of both sides. On the American Dream Team, center Olajuwon, power forward Karl Malone, small forward Scottie Pippen, shooting guard Fern Hardaway, point guard Gary Payton. My country's lineup, center Enmu, power forward Gong Xiaobin, small forward Sun Jun, shooting guard Hu Weidong, point guard Li Xiaoyong. The competition has officially begun. The referee threw the basketball high, and the Celestial Dynasty team Enmu won the ball for the Celestial Dynasty team for the first attack with his outstanding physical fitness and younger age. The voice of Sun Weiping, the royal commentator of the international competition, continued to hear from the TV that Li Xiaoyong dribbled through the half. Enmu, as usual, jumped the ball and landed on the ground and immediately rushed to the front court to prepare for a quick attack. However, Daming and Karl Malone suddenly rushed out from the side and directly stuck Enmu with their strong bodies, and Enmu lost the opportunity to open a quick attack. See? This is the strength of the Dream Team. Quick opening attack? It's impossible to play the Dream Team. The defensive abilities of Malone and Big Dream are not comparable to those college students in the NCAA. I have a hunch that maybe Enmu will be prevented from death by Daming and Ma Long today. Yes, although the talent of the Celestial Empire is outstanding. But he is still too tender compared to these players who have worked hard in the NBA for more than a decade. Seeing that Enmu had lost the opportunity to attack quickly, Gong Luming's eyes under the field sank. In the beginning, it was a little downwind. Rookie, let me teach you today what is called NBA-level confrontation, Damang said with a smile beside Enmu. In his eyes, Enmu was no different from a college student. Champion? What about the champion? I'm also the champion. After so many years, I still know how many champions I have exploded. Damang has his own pride. He once watched Enmu's game, and he has to admit that Enmu's physical fitness is indeed very good, even better than when Daming was younger. However, basketball is not about physical fitness. It's more about the cooperation with your teammates and your own personal skills. Physical fitness is just a necessary condition for playing basketball. Lee Xiaoyong was entangled in Peyton's death outside the three-point line, and he felt uncomfortable at all. Seeing this, Enmu immediately made a block for Lee Xiaoyong, and Lee Xiaoyong broke through to the inside line after blocking the demolition. But on both sides of the free throw line, Demeng and Pippin stared at Lee Xiaoyong like tigers and wolves. If Li Xiao bravely breaks through and enters the free throw line for half a step, the bags of the two people will immediately go up. Li Xiaoyong immediately passed the basketball to Hu Weidong. The moment Hu Weidong received the ball from the outside, the dribbling accelerated to break through. Hardaway's defensive habits were not good, and the first step did not keep up with Hu Weidong. However, his physical talent was too outstanding, and after only 2 speeds, he came to Hu Weidong again. With only 10 seconds left, the Celestial Dynasty team did not find a good opportunity to attack. All the defenses on the field are as strong as an iron wall. The head coach of the American team sitting on the sidelines, Wilkins, smiled easily. The basic skills of the players of the Celestial Empire are okay, but in terms of physical talent, the players of the Dream Team are steadily suppressing them. Break through to the inside line? It's not that easy. Previously, the United States played a game with the Litao Bull in the warm-up game. Known as the second strongest team in the world, the interior players are physically talented and technically delicate. The members of the national team of the Litao Bull are basically from the strongest teams in the European League. However, even such a team, under the excellent defense of the American team's outside line, has not been able to easily break through to the basket many times. Not to mention the Celestial Empire players with worse physical fitness and rougher skills. Wilkins seemed to have imagined a scenario where they could lead each other by 20 points at halftime. He set himself a small goal: as long as it is a game of the Dream Team, then you must win the opponent by more than 30 points. The victory with a point difference of less than 30 points is his failure as a manager. Hu Weidong was slow to find an opportunity to pass the ball from the outside. At this time, the army passed through Enmu's cover without the ball, and a small vacancy appeared in the middle distance. Hu Weidong immediately passed the ball to Sun Jun. After Sun Jun received the ball, he aimed at the basket and asked for the basket. But is Pippin's defense so easy to get rid of? The basketball he had just shot was immediately disturbed by Pippin, who was rushing to the horse. The basketball was even rubbed by Pippin's fingers, and it lost the power to fly in the air. Pay attention to the landing point. Pippin exhaled and began to observe where the basketball landed. Although the basketball was rubbed by his fingers, the flight power is still there, and it should form a 3-stick near the basket. Under the basket, Demeng and Ma Long also made a card position, just waiting for the basketball to fall. You can immediately get the basketball in your hands. The basketball rises to its highest point and begins to fall. Demeng reached out and was about to take the basketball into his arms, but behind him, the number 6 player of the Celestial Dynasty rose from the ground. Intercept the basketball in the air, rush forward, and send the basketball into the basket with one hand. Boom! The basketball hoop roared, and Enmu successfully blocked the big dream. All the audience at the scene were stunned by Enmu's rededuction this time. Oh my god! This is fake, right? Karl Malone and Elijah have clearly succeeded in the position, but Enmu was still able to grab the basketball from the air and dunk the basket into the basket without landing. Such a physical talent, it seems that it can be described by the word excellent, right? This excellent bounce, this excellent reach, and the ability to stay in the air, this is a rare physical quality in NBA history for 100 years. Perhaps, in today's game, the Celestial Empire will not be blindly beaten by the American team. After Demeng was detained by Enmu, his body passively staggered forward a few steps. He turned to look at Enmu, his eyes full of anger. Rookie, you me off. The first goal in the opening group stage of the Olympic Games was blocked by a rookie center. As a 2-time FMVP, Elijah has a temper not much better than Jordan, and Enmu leisurely landed from the basket. Come, let me have a taste of what a champion center is. I've blown up the runner-up center, O'Neal, and I don't mind blowing up once as a champion center. Elijah's eyes already showed a murderous aura. Good. Peyton held the ball and advanced beyond the 3-point line. Elijah beckoned for the ball. Elijah is going to singled Enmu. Elijah, who has just been detained by Enmu once, can he succeed in returning the color this time?